Welcome to the Future of Less Work, where we explore how work is transforming one conversation at a time. I'm Nirit Cohen, and today we're going to dive into work unfolding on factory floors, in cross-border teams, and in the choices young people are making about the lives they want to build. In factories across Asia and the US, Gen Z, including university graduates, is choosing skilled hands-on jobs over traditional office careers. Joining me today is Shin Nakamura, president of One-to-One Holdings, who leads manufacturing teams across Japan and Vietnam and has a front row view into how AI is shaping blue-collar work across cultures, languages, and the changing global teamwork. Shin, welcome to Future of Less Work.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great to meet you here. Yeah.
So thank you. So I actually want to start right there, right? From your perspective, why are young, educated workers gravitating towards manufacturing roles these days?
Yeah, it's probably, many people already realize that, things has been, dramatically changing in white collar, working spaces, but no. And also probably, some of the physical, job and tasks gonna, a little bit take more time to, fully, convert it to the different level of photos. So I think they are sensing, dramatic change already, especially in United States. Then, and also, at the same time, how they see the world might be a little bit slightly different from what we have right now. So I see this is a very interesting transition, and also, some gap between U.S. and the remaining countries. But I see some same kind of changes.
So when you say that they're seeing the world differently, and I'm assuming you mean the younger generations, right? What does that mean? Is this about what they value as true work or as meaningful work, or is this about work and life? What is it about?
How can I say, of course, they're younger in experiences and also sometimes ambitious compared to experienced people like us. And also they are a little bit more sensitive for the changes for the future. So, but on the flip side, the existing environment for, Asia and US is very, very different, especially for, if you're going to measure their value proposition or expected future based on their economic situation. It differs one to the other dramatically for those.
So how is that different from what was in the past? I'm trying to understand, because we've always had different cultures, different economic situations, different environments. What's changing to where we used to be?
I think, especially if you're going to see, the income disparity between the, countries has been widening somehow. Of course, we see some bottoms, is going up, like a China. But we still have some, decent, discrepancy between one country to the other. And also, even inside the country, there are some certain gap between rich and poor voters. So depends on those, differences, how, physical, job like a blue collar job going to be, viable for each country could be a little bit different. For example, US, it's basically the income factor is over, 50K already for those. But in Japan or Asia, Japan is slightly lower than that. And also, if you go for Vietnam, their average income is like $4,000 per year. So huge differences, and also some of their physical job, and how it values is a bit very different from one to the other.
So you're calling those physical jobs, and I'm wondering, with robotics and automation, are you seeing changes in factory jobs?
Yes, more and more in an advanced country like US, and also we see some big impact in China already. But situation in Japan might be a slightly in the middle between those countries somehow for us. So but if you go to the growing developing countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, any others, or India, it's actually very different from what we see in United States now, especially for, not the big corporate like Fortune 500 type of the company, and the remaining middle size, small size company, very different.
So
So,
different how? So what is it that you think that we should be understanding about
mhm.
how young people in Vietnam and Cambodia, maybe even in Japan, are thinking about jobs these days?
uh, it's a bit, different from one to the other in a several context.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I understand. Yeah,
yeah, for
sorry.
example,
Yeah.
like, if you go for the Coca-Cola bottling in United States and India, the system doesn't change that much. And also, the workers working there is kind of same. Of course, some of the different of the wage level for those. But for example, like our company in Vietnam and Japan, we making construction material. Then a lots of more not high volume, low product type of operation, more like a low volume and high variety of the products somehow for those. It requires more, human involvement, and also that makes sense to, not, adapt a fully automated factory like, semiconductors, Coca-Cola bottling, those kind of stuff. So those are very,
So
very
you're saying
different.
these are still like manual jobs that look a lot like they used to be. Do young people go for those?
I think, uh, of course, like a growing country like Vietnam, they want to, better life and, better job, same as what we used to be somehow. So, more chances to, go into those kind of, taking those kind of job compared to like some country like Japan. We are, aging, society, and also fewer population right now. So, they are, looks for more, how we gonna say, physically easier or less intensive for those. That can happen more. Yes. So,
So when you look at how people's expectations are changing, especially the young people with regards to factories, what do you think is happening in terms of their, so we talked about they want to better themselves and they want to get into better jobs. Um, are they willing to do the same things, or are they basically not showing up for the jobs that are not evolving?
yeah, yeah. Well, of course, differs to one to the other. But if I see it, Japan, I think they are less more reluctant to go to the those kind of job if their condition didn't change that much. But if it's going to be more safer, more productive, and more rewarding job, they're more than happy to join for those. So probably we see this kind of trend more in United States right now, because we see like some people who try to join the some of the white collar job, like top notch one, like joining a consultancy, or like a investment banking. They are simply not hiring for those. Sorry, but if you see the more blue collar type of job, but upgraded for by the um, some of the support for that state of the art technology. They are more than happy to. So probably Japan going to pursue those kind of paths more, but it takes more time for the Vietnam, I believe. So
Okay, so here's what what I understand you're saying is you're basically saying, okay, we have young people who are educated and they can't find your standard white collar jobs like consulting or finance. So they turn to manufacturing industry, but they want upgraded jobs in manufacturing industry, the ones that value their education and they're not necessarily physical. Is that forcing manufacturing to change, or
of course, the pace going to be different one to the other, a country or the industry somehow. But we shifting towards those, I believe. So
Okay. So if you're looking at the next few years of the industry that you're familiar with, the manufacturing industry, let's just look at Asia for a second. And I
Mhm.
understand that there are definitely different geographies. But if you look at the next few years, how how are they going to be different from a perspective of how to work in, what the factories or what the industry needs to do to attract the kinds of people they want to attract compared to the last decade?
Yeah, it's the things are changing very faster in United States, a little bit slower in Asia. I feel, especially for manufacturing scene, because if you see the how we see the economical development one to the other, it's a very very different stages for those. So we see more quicker changes and higher impact in United States or Japan more compared to the growing countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, India, so on. uh, China has a different, situation for that. But anyway, that's what I see for those. For example, like Japan, definitely, we really need to, make their, factory floor to be more safer, cleaner, and more productive, getting more support for their, system and others for those. Because, you know, basically we need more manpower and it's a little bit harder to attract the foreigners in that kind of specialized condition like Japan. But US, some certain industry, they can attract those people more. So
So let's talk about AI. We haven't talked about AI. So do you see AI making a difference in manufacturing in Japan these days?
that's a many type of AI. Is that right? So, for example, like a generative AI or some specialized AI like computer vision or like a IoT kind of sensing or processing for those. Those are very different. But of course, what drives to those adoption is economics. So, if it does make sense for long term or short term economics, it's going to be adapted much faster. But, if not, it takes more longer. So that's how I see so far.
Does it matter that a lot of these tools were developed for AI for English natives speakers versus other languages? Do you find that becomes an issue? I've actually seen you write
Uh,
about that somewhere.
Tertiary, yes. But, those are the tools are more designed to more focus on for the cognitive sense of the people. So, some of the basic functionality or like, features, somehow consistent through the word somehow. However, if related to some of the cultural things or traditional things, that could be a little bit different one to the other. So,
Yeah,
that's how I view
it's
those.
interesting. I've actually heard, I think in Europe, I've heard a lot of people say that a lot of these tools are actually helpful for non-native English speakers because they enable us um, to generate content and send out, material, whether it's um, uh, documents or proposals that sound native English because the tools help us. But you're not seeing that in
Uh,
practical.
I think, for example, like in that sense, Japan, yes, it's happening somehow. But, before seeing those, transition, we need the data. So, for example, like a Toyota, how they, build their manufacturing culture there is very, very Japanese and very, very, how we going to say, culture driven
Yes.
somehow. So, more like intuitive things. And also, yes, they are doing more documented photos, but they are, to teach those to the people more like, how you going to say, they inherit their, knowledge and experiences somehow for that. But your observation, to make those to be a functional, it's documented and also ready to be translated for those kind of transition is very, very needed for some country like Japan. So
Yeah. So what, I'm curious from your perspective, actually, let's look at Japan, right? If you look at how the world is changing and you look at the global economy, the ability to attract workers, maybe shift jobs around maybe in an easier way than before. And when you look at AI, are you worried for the ability to stay competitive?
we try to take advantage of it as much as possible. So to do that, we need to digitalize all the, uh, especially for the human data, like a communication data, or like a more like a, work standards or instruction or practice and procedure. Those happen to be, digitalized somehow, or like a more like a text basis or like a video base, those kind of stuff for those to, make it to be accessible for, by AI. And also, probably, make it to be, you know, easy to process by AI. So those are the, needed changes for that. So primarily, plan for, there are lots of data from the machine and also material or any others, but not that much for the human action that much.
And what
Yeah.
about how people develop their careers and grow and I think stay relevant in a changing world of work?
Yeah. So people, to, upgrade those, physical work environment, we need their help. So, we need more human involvement to, capture, all the needed data and information from the platform, and also, may those to be, processable by artificial intelligence. That's going to be their job to, for the probably some decent years from now on, I believe.
So you're saying that for example, Japanese manufacturers actually need to do something very different than US manufacturers in terms of the ability to capture all the knowledge of their processes into AI so that it's used as part of the AI.
Many things, how do you say, some of the intuitive things on morale or like, ethics and those, the difference for those. But for instruction, practice and procedure, Japanese tend to less, make it to be a text basis somehow for those. But we got to do that more to, make it to be a functional.
So it's
But
less,
if you're going to
so
make,
there's less, there's a lot of, so more of the processes are not, they're formalized, but they're verbal, right? You're basically saying they're
yes.
passed along in the culture as opposed to something that you can read and therefore
So
analyze.
I totally agree with you. It's more like a craftsmanship or like a,
Oh,
inheritance
wow.
from the master to, the next generation somehow. That's going to be happen more like an artisan kind of approach. They are not, writing something and give the manual to you. Is that right? But, yeah.
Okay, so when we think about AI, right, what you're basically telling us, right, is that there are a lot of cultures, especially in Asia, where a lot of the knowledge is craftsmanship, as in passed between generations and not documented in a way. Therefore, it's not in this big brain that we think knows everything.
That's, have some of the, geographical or like a, country, gap one to the other. And, the way to how to, capture those and, manage those would be a very different, would be, going to be very different from past decades and ongoing decades, I believe. So.
Yeah, which will be a big change. What do you think needs to happen for that to change? Do you think it will change?
biggest challenge is actually, people's mentality for how to, make this to be a more opportunity rather than risk. And for example, like, in our factory, we used to have a people who work in the factory for the decades. That, they have a very, very, sophisticated, sense of quality and safety for those. But, now those are not necessarily, inherited by the youngers somehow. So, we try to, make those to be a more documented and also, reflected to your practice and procedure together with the younger associates and try to, put into the system to, adaptable for the younger generation or even transferable to the, other countries in the future.
Do you
So those
see the
kind of,
younger
yeah.
does the younger generation they work not as many years in the same place? Is that why it's not the same?
It's in general, it's getting much shorter, impatient than before. But of course, the demand and supply kind of situation going to be, applicable for the job market too. It could be changed, but so far, we see those trends are consistent up to now.
So they come in, and if they have better opportunities sometime down the line, they will leave what used to be a different.
It happens more often than before. Yes.
Okay,
But
so
to
what is that?
avoid those kind of consequences, we have
Yeah,
better to make the manufacturing job to be more attractive for them. So
exactly. I was going to say. So what are you doing exactly? Right? What does it mean to make it more attractive? What is it that you do?
safer,
Okay.
cleaner, and
Okay.
also rewarding for those. And also, we really want to make them to be feel, not only, doing something locally, but also for that's going to be impact to the, other location or, other country in the future for those. So, for especially for the, Japanese employee, those are very, very important. And we try to make it happen, enable them to make those transitions somehow, you know align to their motivation incentives.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. That's actually very interesting. So I have a question for you as we wrap up. So when you look at the next few years, what do you think is the question we should all be asking about the future of work?
We really want to make sure what's the business of the entity, and also how you know you know how do you update your sense of wholeness and change your way of self-management towards those. Because if we don't see the changes, for the business, probably, they are a bit hard to, change themselves. And also, their role and task going to be, shifting one place to the other. So, they need to have that kind of sense to make sure to change themselves somehow. So,
Yeah. 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 That's true. And I think it was, for me, it was very interesting to see how we don't fully comprehend, right, the way that cultures are so different. Sometimes you make assumptions, right? I mean, even this idea of what we have in the big knowledge base of AI in terms of context and not just language, but actually what's actually in there and the things that are not in there because they're not even documented, right? Wow. Thank you, Shin, for this
okay.
conversation. For listeners who want to learn more, right, you'll find the links to Shin's work and to One-on-One Holdings in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in to The Future of Less Work. And remember, your best people do not work because they have to, or because you pay them to, or because you measure them. They work because they want to, because by working for you, they're doing what's important to them in life. Thank you for listening. Till next time.